I'm going to share with you the top 5 reasons that I have seen professional women struggle with communicating confidently in the workplace, in their businesses, and etc. If you have experienced any of these reasons, put them in the comments below so we can talk about them. I'm going to go rapid fire on these. Number 1, they were not taught how to communicate confidently. Number 2, they do not believe in themselves. Number 3, the upbringing did not support them expressing themselves as women. Number 4, something happened in their past that decreased their confidence and they are still dealing with it. Number 5, they are not comfortable in their own voice and they're really worried about how they sound in front of people. Now, if you have experienced any of these reasons or you are tired of missing opportunities because you're not communicating confidently, sign up for the communication skills audit in the description below. I watched the debate last night with Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump, and I want to share with you one top secret strategy as it relates to communicating that both candidates use that you can use in your everyday communications to help elevate your communication skills. And that secret is what I personally call the power of the pause. What do I mean by that? When you are speaking to a group of people one-on-one, if you need to make an impact and really want to emphasize a point, say your point and pause, just like this. I know it may feel a little uncomfortable, and it does, but if you're able to master this skill, it will help you speak at a higher level. And if you want some more customized support, reach out to me for a communication skills audit in the description below. Hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing well today. I just first want to tell you how excited I am to be able to speak with you this afternoon, or depending on what time you are watching this question and answer session. So, today is a very exciting day. There's a lot of things that are happening in the world of professional women. And this is a great opportunity to be able to develop your executive presence and to speak more confidently. My mission here really is to be able to answer any questions that you may have as it relates to developing your executive presence as a woman in leadership, and then also helping you to be more confident when you are speaking to others. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. I'll be happy to answer them for you. I do have a few questions that were answered or asked to me offline. So I'm going to start with those first, so I can make sure the individuals that had these questions are getting those answered while I'm waiting for a few other questions to come up. Now, if you are new to me, my name is Dr. Jacinta Lamantai. I am the CEO and founder of Excite Excellence Incorporated. My goal is to help women who are in leadership roles be able to have the tools that they need to help them communicate at a higher level than their peers. So if you are trying to enhance your personal and professional development, and you want to communicate confidently, or perhaps you want to be able to enhance how you are communicating, this is definitely the place for you. So I appreciate you for joining. I know I'm on a couple of platforms, LinkedIn, YouTube. So appreciate everyone for being here. And now I want to get into the questions that were asked to me about this topic. Okay, so the first question that I received from one of our amazing women was, what is executive presence? So this is a really great question. And I understand kind of their background story in terms of what they have going on professionally. So I want to answer it as best I can. So when you think about executive presence, what are some things that you notice or feel when you hear that word? Do you feel like someone is in a position of leadership? Do you feel like this is someone who is the follower? What are your thoughts? Put them in the comments below. Would love to see it, see kind of what your thoughts are about that. So when you think about executive presence, really it is a way that you are carrying yourself as a professional. And when you consider the word executive, executives are the individuals who are making the decisions, who are the leaders of their specific community, business, or organization that they are working for. And so when you're developing your executive presence, you are basically developing how you want to conduct yourself as a leader. Now, when you develop it in such a way to where you know how you want to be presented as a leader, a lot of people will be able to see and kind of feel that presence once you have finalized it on your end. So I hope that answers the question in terms of what is executive presence. It is truly the way that you are presenting yourself as a leader. And at its highest level, it allows other people to be able to feel your presence and know that you are in the building or you are in the room. So that is hopefully that answers that question. Okay, the next question that I had was how do you develop your executive presence? The other backstory of this was I am a new manager in a role. I just started, and I've noticed that some of my coworkers are not listening to me sometimes, and I feel like I need to develop my executive presence more. Can you please share a tip in terms of how I can develop my executive presence with my coworkers? This is a great question, and as I mentioned, a lot of people struggle with this specifically. So to answer this question, I would there's a couple parts of it. There's a YouTube video I have that I will definitely let you know. The name of it is called, I think it's the most common mistakes people make or how to develop your executive presence. But just subscribe to my YouTube channel, you'll be able to see that there. But when you think about how can you develop your executive presence, the scenario was that she's with coworkers and not really listening or not maybe respecting her the way they need to. It really starts with yourself first. And once you are able to master your level of confidence, that is a way for you to get started to develop your executive presence. So there's the internal aspect of it that you personally have to work on. And then there's the external aspect of it that everybody else sees, but the internal part has to be where it needs to be first. So a couple of things I'd recommend to start developing your executive presence, if we start just internally first, is to build up your confidence. Some of the challenges I see that a lot of women in leadership make is that they are in roles and sometimes they know a lot of what to do, but they're not exactly sure how to do it or how to say it. So learning as much as you can about your specific role, learn some statistics, learn some critical milestones in your specific discipline. That's a way to build your confidence in terms of what you're saying to other people. The other part of it is actually what you are saying. Now, if you are saying things in a manner that shows you're not as confident as you would like to be in a particular scenario, then people will pick up on that. So you may be wondering, well, what are some things that people do that make them think they are not as confident as they need to be? So I'll give you an example. Let's say there's a situation going on, and I'm going to communicate the same sentence in two different ways. And you tell me which scenario or which sentence or way that I say it would you feel a little bit more confident with? Okay, you ready? All right, here's the first one. We have a crisis situation going on, and a decision has to be made really, really quickly. All righty? So this is the first sentence. This is the first scenario. This is how I'm going to respond if someone asks me a question in a crisis situation. You know, I really am not sure of what we're going to do, but I think I'm going to contact a couple of people and try to figure it out. Okay. So how did you feel about that response? Did I sound confident? Did I look confident? You let me know. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. All right. That's scenario number one. All right. Number two, same situation, crisis situation going on. You know, I'm not really quite sure as to what we need to do, but I think that I have a couple people I'm going to get in contact with so we can figure out what's going on. So what do you think? Which one sounded more confident to you? I would say the second one. That was my intention, was the second one. Because sometimes when we're not sure of what to say, we'll start to move our heads and make faces. And sometimes people will pop their lips because they just don't know what to say. So when you're presenting yourself as an executive and you're presenting yourself with that executive presence, you have to show that you are in control, regardless if the sky is falling, there's crazy things going on. Like, for instance, we have a hurricane that's going on in Florida right now. But you want to come across as the person that is in control. Okay. So that's a great way to start developing your executive presence, is internally get as much confidence as you need to, and then have some level of control in terms of what you are saying to other people. Now, the external portion of your executive presence can be considered as how you're presenting yourself visibly to everybody else. That could be your attire, that could be maybe how you do your hair, it could be what you choose to wear or what you choose not to wear. Do you like to have your nails looking nice? Do you not want to have nail polish on your hands? It really does not matter to a certain extent. It's good for you to have something in your mind. So you'll need to think about that best version of yourself. I think that's probably the best way that I would say it, is who do you want to be as the best version of yourself? And that best version of yourself should be that person that is visibly seen to other people. You may not be there just yet, but if there's certain things that you like, then try to adapt those into your everyday routine. I'll give you a scenario that comes up sometimes as it relates to developing your executive presence that I have seen some women struggle with. So, oftentimes we're real busy. We're super busy as women. We have our families we're taking care of, we have our jobs we're taking care of, or our businesses we're taking care of, and we are put at the bottom of the list, unfortunately. This happens all the time just because we're busy. And so I had a scenario come up where there was a woman who was very, very talented. She was a client of mine, and she's very, very talented, knew all of her information, was just really on point. The problem was that she was struggling with her executive presence and just was getting some different types of feedback from the people she was working with. And so when we had a conversation about it, she had everything together, very articulate, knew what was going on, but she dressed in a way that was a bit more lax. So she would maybe put her hair up, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but it would be put up in kind of like a messy kind of bun. And there's nothing wrong with a messy bun, but if you're trying to present yourself as an executive, it may be a hairstyle that you want to modify slightly that looks a bit more sleek, more professional. So that was one thing. She used to wear baggy clothes. So she would typically wear just some baggy dress pants or some small shoes, which were fine. But the baggy dress pants, the baggy top was just the way that she was used to dressing as a child. And a lot of times we bring what we've learned as children to our professional lives, and it may not necessarily be the right way for us to do it. So when we had a conversation and we were going through, how can we really develop your executive presence? You have everything together. You're really confident. You have your statistics in order. What are some things we can do? So we started working with her attire, and the best version of herself was the person that wore a business suit, that either had business pants or business a skirt that she wanted to wear, and she would always wear a suit. And so when she made those changes and she changed her hairstyle a bit, then she started to notice that people were paying attention to her a bit more, from a point of where they complimented her on how she was conducting herself in meetings, and they really started to lean more into her as it relates to situations they had going on. So those are some great ways to start to develop your executive presence. Working on yourself internally, becoming more confident, learning how to speak more confident is really important. And then the other part is the external aspect of it. And that would be, how you're dressed, your attire, and etc. Of course, the most important part of it is how you are communicating. If you are communicating as a very focused, very level headed person, people will tend to receive that information better than if you are conducting yourself as being someone who is very highly, highly emotional and just gets very frantic and doesn't know what to say. So, those are a couple tips to help you build your executive presence. As I mentioned, I have a YouTube video that talks more about executive presence, some things that I didn't mention in our question and answer that you might want to check out and learn. But those are great ways for you to start to develop it. Alrighty. Now, let me see if I have another question. And I did. Okay, this one was more about speaking confidently. So I'm going to read the question because I think it's very helpful in that a lot of women do struggle with this. Okay, the question is this. I am in a different type of setting right now where I have to communicate a lot more often than I'm used to doing. One of the things that I'm struggling with right now is that sometimes I lose my train of thought and I'm not quite sure of what I need to say when I'm talking to other people. I feel like this causes people to lose their confidence in me. And I really would like to be able to speak more confidently when I am at work in this new role. My goal is to receive a promotion. Okay, I understand that. Okay, my goal is to receive a promotion. And I really am sure that I need to become more confident in order for me to get a promotion and to make more money? That's a really great question. And so to summarize the question, which I really appreciate you for putting this together for me and sharing your scenario in terms of what you have going on. But the purpose, I would say probably the summary of this question in terms of speaking confidently would be to think about how you cannot lose your train of thought and lose your words in front of people. The best solution that I can give to you for that is to come prepared for your meetings, regardless of what they may be, with some talking points in place. So there should be at least maybe one or two things that you know that you need to articulate in a meeting. I find that a lot of times when people are not really quite sure of what they want to say, is that they didn't plan ahead. They may have a lot of ideas like in their head, but they just haven't had a chance to really plan it out and organize it in such a way to where they can say, this is exactly what I'm going to speak about. So that's what I would recommend for you to do in this scenario. Come up before your meeting. And sometimes if you're really busy and you're in a leadership role, you may not have the opportunity to really be able to be organized. But I have found that if you can just take out just even 2 minutes before your meeting, just to have a few minutes of quiet time and think of, okay, these are the things that I want to talk about in this particular meeting. Let me write them down really quickly. If you give yourself just at least 2 minutes to do it, then that will help you to be able to have something formulated so that you don't miss and forget what you were trying to say. Okay, so I hope that information was helpful. And once again, I just appreciate you all for joining today for the question and answer session. I'm going to try and see if I can do a few more of these because I do get questions on my platforms and in my inbox about different things as it relates to communicating confidently. And I really do want to be able to support you. I know that I didn't necessarily have that support when I was developing myself as a professional woman. And so it's something that is always very passionate, a big passion of mine, because I know how challenging it can be when you're in a professional setting. So if you have any additional questions, just let me know. I'll plan to host another one of these very, very soon. And if you're looking to elevate your communication skills, or if you want to have someone talk to you about how you're communicating and help you to come up with a strategy so that you can communicate in a more confident and articulate manner, then reach out to me. Give me a message. My email address is info@exciteexcellence.org, or you can find me on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram as well. I have a communication skills audit that is a great place to start. It's more customized support where the two of us will work together to help you develop the skills that you need. I'll be able to take a few moments and see how you're communicating and give you some guidance, some suggestions on how maybe you can communicate a little bit differently so we can use the strengths that you already have and make them even stronger so that you're communicating as that confident professional woman that you want to be. All righty. Well, I will see you all at the next Q&A session. If you have any questions, just let me know. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Bye for now.